In February, Lil Wayne announced that the album Tha Carter 6 would be released on June 6th. The date was revealed in an ad featuring the rapper. The clip played on his disappointment that instead of him at the most high-profile sporting event of 2025, taking place in his hometown New Orleans, the performer would not be Lil Wayne, but Grammy winner Kendrick Lamar.
Hey, we still going?
Nah, this is time sensitive. Let's get it.
The album Tha Carter 6 was announced in the summer of 2022. At that time, Lil Wayne performed at the Drake's October World Weekend Festival. At one point, an image with the album title appeared on the screens. The last installment of the iconic album series that made Weezy a legend of the genre was released in 2018.
They taste the juice, I hope it make them puke. I'm breaking loose. Should I throw up the deuce or should I wait?
But even if the fifth or sixth installment of this album series had never seen the light of day, Lil Wayne had already changed the rap game so much that his self-proclaimed title of Best Rapper Alive doesn't seem like much of an exaggeration. This man literally transformed the hip-hop industry, and that statement only partially describes what Weezy has done for hip-hop culture. He's the one who introduced us to Drake and Nicki Minaj, as well as influenced global fashion. In short, Lil Wayne is an era-defining figure, and today we'll explain why. So, let's get started. Before Wayne and after Wayne, there have been and will be endless Lils, listing all of whom, even just in American hip-hop, would take up at least a paragraph. However, Weezy's phenomenal success and popularity sparked a massive trend of adding the Lil prefix to stage names. For these young rappers, Carter became the gold standard, the zero coordinate, the reference point from which they could measure the dividends of adding Lil to their names. Now it seems that a young artist's success directly depends on whether their pseudonym includes the Lil prefix. Of course, one can do without it, but just in case, it's better to have it before the main name. Now, it's almost a mandatory tribute to fashion, a trend started by Wayne. But it wasn't always like this. Back when Weezy was one of the first Lils, this prefix signified inexperience, and at the same time the boldness characteristic of young artists just starting out. As they matured and honed their skills, most rappers would drop the Lil from their names and continue their careers without it. However, our hero decided not to do so, and as time has shown, this decision created a rap meme of planetary scale. The only other prefix that can compete with Lil in popularity is Young, but there haven't been as many major hip-hop artists with that prefix. Maybe Young Thug at most. But that's not all. Wayne's greatest contribution related to age was that he became the first teenage rapper whose presence didn't feel like a joke or something awkward, where a kid was rapping about gangster life and adult topics in a completely unconvincing way. Think, for example, of Master P's son, Lil Romeo. Even in his earliest street videos, Wayne didn't look like an underage freak or a spoiled rich kid. He looked like an ordinary hungry teenager from the city's outskirts, hustling to find his place under the sun.
What you have here is brought to you courtesy of the young man, Young Carter.
The rapper's real name is Dwayne Michael Carter Jr. The future icon was born on September 27, 1982, in the Holly Grove neighborhood of New Orleans. At the time, Dwayne's mother had just turned 19 and worked as a cook. 2 years later, his father, Dwayne Carter Sr., left the family, abandoning his former lover and their young son, leaving them almost penniless. This event permanently shaped Dwayne's attitude toward his father. As soon as he had the opportunity, the rapper changed his own name, wanting nothing to do with the man. By removing the first letter, he became Wayne, the name under which he became famous. From an early age, Wayne stood out to his teachers, on one hand, with his talent and artistry, and on the other, with his terrible behavior and constant mischief. Even in elementary school, he began writing poetry. In addition, Wayne participated in all school plays and even joined a theater club. In 1991, he met Brian Williams, who would later become known as Birdman. Williams noticed the young boy's talent, and by 1995, helped him record his first album. Wayne, then just 11 years old, worked on the record as part of the duo The Bee Gees with another teenage rapper, 14-year-old Christopher Dorsey, better known as BG. The first taste of success inspired Wayne so much that at 14 he dropped out of school to dedicate all his time and effort to a music career. However, the artist's youth was not without its difficult moments. In 2021, Lil Wayne appeared on the show Uncomfortable Conversations, where he opened up about his mental health struggles and a suicide attempt at the age of 12. He had mentioned this incident before, but now he provided more details. Lil Wayne shared that his mother had found out he was skipping school. His aunt told him he would be in trouble and that he would be forbidden from rapping. I hung up the phone, my head was full of thoughts, and the main one was, "I'll show you," Lil Wayne recounted on the show. He knew where his mother kept her gun. Before doing anything, he called the police. Officers arrived and began knocking on the door. Wayne woke up covered in blood and started crawling across the floor to open it. The police eventually broke it down and started searching the house for drugs and weapons, ignoring the bleeding teenager. The only person who noticed him was someone named Bob, who immediately ordered him to be taken to the hospital.
So I picked up the phone. I called the police. Yes, I knew where she kept her gun.
You actually pulled the trigger?
Yeah, I pulled the trigger. I was still just laying there. I didn't feel a thing. I said, shit, I said, I'm here for a reason.
When the host asked why he hadn't simply talked to his mother, Wayne explained that growing up without a father meant his mother had to be strict in raising him. She never asked for his opinion. After the incident, she completely changed. However, the rapper's mental health struggles didn't end there. Though he never again contemplated suicide, he continued to feel alone, even when he was the most famous rapper in the world. Later, when he faced problems with his label, Lil Wayne seriously considered quitting music altogether. He wants people to understand that mental health struggles are real. By the way, about the officer named Bob mentioned earlier, in 2022, that police officer passed away. The rapper honored his memory, writing, "Everything happens for a reason. I was dying when I met you at that very spot. You didn't let me die. Everything that happens happens for a reason. That reason was you and your faith. Rest in peace, Uncle Bob. Aunt Katie was waiting for you. I will love and miss you both." Officer Hubler passed away on a Saturday at the age of 65. He was found dead in his home in Old Jefferson, Louisiana. But let's return to the artist's biography. Wayne Carter's serious music career began with the 1997 album Get It How You Live, recorded with Terrius Gray, Tab Virgil Jr., and BG. The group was called Hot Boys, and it instantly gained popularity among rap fans. In 1999, the Hot Boys pleased their audience with a second album, Guerrilla Warfare.
What I got, wanna take it and bend, break it down, shake it down, with me and a friend.
Lil Wayne's first solo creation is considered to be the album The Block Is Hot, although some songs from this record were also performed together with members of Hot Boys. The collection surpassed Wayne's previous albums in popularity, achieving platinum status in its first week of sales. Additionally, it earned the 17-year-old Carter a nomination for Best New Artist from the music magazine Source. The year 2000 marked the release of the artist's second solo album, Lights Out. This record was less popular than the previous one, but was still awarded gold status by the RIAA. 2 years later, Lil Wayne introduced his third album, 500 Degrees, which, unfortunately, did not gain much love from listeners. The most important albums in Lil Wayne's creative biography were from the Thaw Carter series. Their special atmosphere, Carter's unique rapping style, and consistently high recording quality earned the musician fans worldwide. The first album in this collection, Thaw Carter, was released in 2004. According to RIAA estimates, the album sold over 2 million copies, and that's just the legal ones. Months at the top of various hit parades and charts elevated Wayne's popularity to a new height. The album cover featured, for the first time, a photo of the artist with dreadlocks, which became Carter's signature style.
Ladies and gentlemen, pimps and players, half-ass rappers and true rhyme sayers.
Perhaps the most memorable trademark of Wayne is his unmatched vocal acrobatics. It has everything: screams, moans, whispers, squeaks, groans, chirping, and even whooping. Wheezy's flow is truly unpredictable and inimitable, making it possible to recognize him within 2 seconds. He is impossible to confuse with anyone else. Wayne's voice also changes in every possible way: timbre, intonation, tonality, etc. His performance is never monotonous or repetitive. It would be hard to find a rapper with such a wide range, and there's no guarantee you'd find anyone even remotely similar. Thanks to his distinctive voice and the fact that he not only refused to conform to the average voices of other artists, but also deliberately enhanced his uniqueness, hip-hop artists who emerged after him had a much wider range of vocal possibilities. Wayne made virtually any voice suitable for rap, and that is his undeniable achievement. Striking while the iron was hot, at the beginning of 2005, Lil Wayne released Thaw Carter 2, which debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 chart. The album itself sold 4 million copies, achieving double platinum status. In 2020, Rolling Stone included the record among the greatest albums of all time.
Cash money, young money, motherfuck the other side. They can fuck with us if they won't.
The musician did not forget about other projects. In 2006, Carter released a collaborative album with Birdman, which the rappers titled Like Father, Like Son. Among the guest artists who worked on the tracks were T-Pain, Fat Joe, Thaw Dog Pound, and others. In Wayne's discography, this collection became his 5th album to make it into the Billboard 200 Top 10.
We still out here getting it on them and keep it cool every time we hit the streets cause these...
By the way, it can't be said that Birdman was truly like a father to Weezy in every sense. When he signed Wayne to his label, he himself was not even 18 years old. Yes, it can be said that the relationship between Carter and Birdman was good for a long time, even during the loud scandals surrounding Cash Money. However, later, a conflict between them would arise, which we will discuss a bit later.
When I first saw my first million, I was 14, turning 15.
What's some of the first shit you bought?
I ain't buy nothing because I couldn't buy nothing. Because I was in the streets. I wasn't going to send myself to the penitentiary, but I just was raised as a young nigga by older niggas, right? When I come out the boys' home, I went straight to the streets. Because my pa, he got shot up and he went to jail for a murder. So right after that, the streets became my life. I chose that shit. So, and I learned from it. And it altered me real quick in my life. By the time I was 16, 17, I signed Lil Wayne and I was 16, 17. When they were signed to...
Their joint album, Like Father, Like Son, not only received another gold certification, but also brought them a lawsuit. Thomas Marasciulo sued for copyright infringement, claiming that a recording of his voice was used in Respect and other tracks from the album without his permission. However, there were problems with the 3rd album in the The Carter series. Shortly before its scheduled release, several tracks were leaked online. Lil Wayne announced to fans that he was postponing the album's release and would issue the leaked songs in a separate album, adding 4 more tracks to them. As a result, The Carter 3, featuring Jay-Z and Kanye West, was released only in 2008. Interestingly, the scandal surrounding the leaked tracks actually benefited the album. Its release became one of the most anticipated, and in its first week, over 1 million copies were sold. The album later went triple platinum and even broke the record previously held by 50 Cent with his album The Massacre, which had been the most commercially successful rap album. Wayne's collection of awards grew with 3 Grammy wins for Best Rap Album, Best Rap Song, and Best Solo Rap Performance.
Your career just isn't fair. I'm a venereal.
Alongside his music career, Wayne frequently appeared on TV shows, and in 2009, audiences saw him in the lead role in Hurricane Season, directed by Tim Story. The main cast also included Forrest Whitaker and Isaiah Washington. Proceeds from the soundtrack sales were donated to victims of Hurricane Katrina. The following year, Wayne's voice was featured in the animated musical TV series Freaknik, the musical, created by T-Pain.
And I got them special get out of town discounts. Yeah, cool.
The 2010 album Rebirth was declared Wayne's debut rock album. Nicki Minaj and Eminem participated in its recording. Despite negative reviews from critics, the album achieved platinum status. Before the release of Rebirth, Lil Wayne reignited his feud with 50 Cent. Their beef had been going on since 2007 because 50 Cent was unhappy with the large number of features Wayne was doing. He even called him a prostitute for having so many collaborations. After Rebirth dropped, Wayne mocked 50 Cent in his 2010 video for Money on My Mind, where he picks up Curtis's book From Pieces to Weight and laughs. 50 Cent revived the conflict the following year, adding new disses in his track Love, Hate, Love. However, in 2012 and 2013, the feud seemed to be settled. After Wayne suffered a seizure in 2012, 50 Cent wished him well. Later, they were photographed together at a Floyd Mayweather Jr. boxing match and other sporting events. But let's go back to Nicki Minaj and remember another important person in Lil Wayne's history, Drake. The careers of Drizzy and Minaj are thanks to Weezy, as he was the one who discovered these young talents and offered them contracts. Yes, the Young Money entertainment business empire, founded as a subsidiary of Cash Money Records, was built on Birdman's sharp business instincts, but the creative inspiration for the artists always came from Wayne. Otherwise, how do you explain the fact that after Weezy's conflict with Birdman, this empire began to sink and is now barely a serious player in the hip-hop field? With Wayne's departure, Birdman not only failed to continue his own career, which largely depended on his protege, but also failed to find anyone who could even come close to the level of Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki.
Wayne brought the music to me. Wayne was asking me what I thought about it. I'm like, I think that nigga dope. That nigga bad. We ain't never heard no shit like that. Like, that nigga had them long words and had that singing flow. Like, we ain't never heard no shit like that in hip hop. Right. And I was like, man, that nigga cold, man. You hear me? Like, first time I met him, I told him he's gonna be a legend. He was like, for real? I'm like, yeah, Drake, you're gonna be a fucking legend in this game. Because the hip hop ain't heard nothing like that. I ain't never heard nothing like that.
It's no coincidence that in the conflict with the Cash Money boss, Drake and Nicki took Wayne's side. It was his advice and creative support that helped the young artists develop their style and find their niche. But perhaps it's time to tell the story of the Birdman and Lil Wayne conflict. On January 28th, Lil Wayne filed a lawsuit against Cash Money, demanding $51 million, citing a wide range of alleged financial violations. Among other things, the lawsuit claimed that Cash Money concealed key financial documents from Lil Wayne and owed him $8 million for the album Tha Carter 5 under a 2012 agreement that guaranteed him a staggering $10 million advance per album. Lil Wayne stated that when he left Cash Money, he would take Drake and Nicki Minaj with him. At the end of one of his performances, Lil Wayne didn't beat around the bush. When it was time to say goodbye to the audience, he said, "Free Weezy album is coming soon, Carter 5 is coming soon, I hate Cash Money."
Thank you. I just want to turn y'all up for a second. You already know what it is. Free Weezy album coming soon. Carter 5 coming soon. Fuck Cash Money.
In April 2015, there was an assassination attempt on Lil Wayne. Young Thug's tour manager, named Pee Wee Roscoe, chased Lil Wayne's tour bus through the streets of Atlanta in his white Chevrolet Camaro. Pee Wee fired shots at Lil Wayne's bus, and just minutes later, as the police discovered, he received a call from Birdman. Again, according to rumors, Birdman paid Pee Wee $250,000 and gifted him a Porsche. Court documents indicate that Pee Wee Roscoe claimed that the shooting at Lil Wayne's tour bus resulted from a financial dispute between Lil Wayne and Birdman. Pee Wee insisted that Birdman should be partially responsible for the incident and was directly involved in the crime. Despite attempts to shift the blame onto Birdman, Pee Wee is now serving a 10-year prison sentence for attempted murder. Birdman didn't stop there. When Lil Wayne was performing at Club Live and performing the track Coco, Birdman threw a couple of champagne bottles at the rapper. After that, to prevent a fight, the club had to be shut down. By the way, after Lil Wayne left Cash Money, even Pusha T supported him, despite their past feud. The conflict between Wayne and Pusha T began in 2006 after Wayne appeared on the cover of Vibe magazine wearing clothes from the Japanese brand A Bathing Ape. Wayne also wore Bape clothing in his Hustler music video. Pusha T, his brother Malice, and their longtime friend Pharrell were among the first rappers to wear Bape, so they felt that Wayne was copying their style. Because of this, the duo Clips released the track Mr. Me Too, where they mocked Wayne.
Dude like Snoop say, step your game up, double-decker boat, Mediterranean.
When Wayne was asked about these accusations in an interview with Complex, he responded, "Talk to me like I'm the best. I don't see any clips. Come on, man. Wheezy, bro. They had to do a track with us to get popular." Wayne also claimed that Clips and Pharrell wore Bape, and fans considered it weird. However, after he started wearing it, it became cool. Pusha T continued to challenge Wayne on the Clips tracks Re-Up Gang intro and Open Your Eyes. It seemed the feud ended when Wayne went to prison in 2010. Pusha T publicly expressed his support for him. However, in 2012, Pusha returned with new attacks on Wayne, releasing the single Exodus. In the song, he took multiple shots at Wayne and Drake. After the track's release, Wayne tweeted, "I hate Pusha T and anybody that love him." That same day, he released the diss track Ghoulish. Pusha called it weak.
The head bottom, got him, Lil Twinkie shit, weak stomach, it's me, LT.
I remember just a very dark time for me just musically. Not having, being in a, what do you call it? Like a label drama. People were telling Wayne he was, trying to talk dope like the Clips or drugs and he wore Bape like the Clips. Right. I never said that. There was a Vibe article where he, just spoke to that, but he just spoke about us in a very, down talking us. And I'm like, damn, we already going through, and you're not even bright enough or smart enough at the time. I ain't got no problem, Wayne. I mean, just so we clear, I ain't,
In 2011, the fourth installment of the Tha Carter album series was released. The recording and release of the tracks were constantly delayed, sometimes due to the artist's health and other issues. The musician managed to go to prison for illegal gun possession, get released, undergo serious dental surgery, and release a dozen singles that later appeared on various albums. However, even the constant delays in the promised release dates did not make Wayne's fans turn away from their idol. Speaking of illegal gun possession, in 2021, 38-year-old Lil Wayne was once again charged with illegal firearm possession. In December 2019, police found a loaded gun on him. The rapper claimed the gun was a gift, but he soon admitted to breaking the law. Wayne's trial was scheduled for January 28th. If not for Donald Trump's pardon, he could have faced up to 10 years in prison.
Off the cush, I'm gone. Only 2 years old when daddy used to bring them hookers home.
In 2010, Wayne released a hugely popular collaboration track with Eminem.
You expecting not to sweat, and these niggas know I lay them down.
Interestingly, Weezy always held Eminem in high regard. In one interview, he even said that Eminem is one of the few who didn't lose to him on a track, meaning his verse was just as strong as Eminem's, and that's already a big achievement. Here's another quote from Weezy about the hip-hop legend.
I was around when there was a such thing called battle rap, you know, and that was our form of rap where I can literally, it was almost comedic. What I mean by that is a comedian can, you know, they roast each other, and you know, that means they don't mean nothing by it. You know, battle rap is the same. You know, you got these people, they standing in a circle, and you know, I mean, Eminem might tear your head off about something that you felt great about yourself in the mirror before you got there. You know?
In the second half of the 2010s, scandals in Wayne's career continued. In the summer of 2016, it was reported that Lil Wayne's private jet was forced to make an emergency landing because the artist unexpectedly suffered a seizure. When the plane took off again, the rapper had another seizure and was taken to the hospital. Luckily for Wayne, once again, everything ended well. However, the reason for these health problems is quite simple: substance abuse. Lil Wayne has always stood out among other rappers, and it's not just about his songs or his Martian origins. During the peak of his creative career, from 2007 to 2009, he seemed to never let go of his styrofoam cup. In the studio, on the streets, in music videos, always full of purple liquid, it was Wayne's essential companion. His condition gradually worsened, especially if you look at some interviews from that time, where his speech became increasingly incoherent, sluggish, and absurd. One need only recall Wayne's appearance on Tim Westwood's show, where, holding the now familiar cup, he delivered one of the worst freestyles in hip-hop history, even though he was once quite skilled at it.
Oh no, only for money. More of the money I get, I got that. Yeah, like a pot in the pan, I rock that. Yeah, I sit back, tell my bus driver where to go. I'm finished.
By 2012, his plane had already been forced to land due to a sudden seizure, and he had been hospitalized on the brink of collapse during the filming of the High School music video with Nicki Minaj. However, a few years ago, the artist seemed to have come to his senses and decided to break his bad habit. He spoke at length about how he didn't take substances because he liked them, but because he was sick. That is, addicted. But let's get back to his music. The next album in the Thaw Carter series was the 5th installment. As we mentioned earlier, before the project's release, the artist had a falling out with Cash Money, which led to the album's repeated delays due to prolonged legal battles. Finally, Wayne broke his contract with the label, and in 2018, Thaw Carter 5 was released.
They could do all they can do, but they can't break unbreakable. They scared.
With this project, the rapper intended to end his music career, and as he stated in interviews, devote time to his family and children. But by 2020, the musician released his 13th studio album, Funeral. The album made it onto many European charts, but only achieved real success in the US, where it hit #1 on the Billboard 200.
Push me like a red button, a gun head, but you like bang, 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 bang till your heart stop drumming.
The artist also had a serious influence on the fashion industry. Baggy jeans were an essential part of hip-hop fashion for decades. The entire 90s and part of the 2000s were dominated by the ultra-wide silhouettes of rapper jeans. However, by the end of the first decade of the 2000s, thanks to Weezy, skinny jeans started to rapidly replace the so-called pipes. The third Thaw Carter album, which made Wayne an undeniably unstoppable king of hip-hop, allowed him to dictate fashion for the entire genre straight from his throne. Then, Weezy delivered the final blow to baggy jeans. He started rocking tight leopard print pants, thereby irreversibly killing the long-standing trend. After that, the entire progressive rap scene began following their king's lead and fully transitioned to slim-fit pants. Nowadays, seeing a rapper in oversized jeans is as bizarre as seeing him in skinny pants back in the mid-2000s. Even veteran rappers no longer dare to bring back their old style. This metamorphosis undoubtedly transformed the visual aspect of hip-hop. The most obvious change was the complete overhaul of the rap aesthetic. Following baggy jeans, oversized t-shirts, and gigantic hoodies also disappeared into oblivion. To sum it up, it's strange that there was never a specific term coined to define Lil Wayne's music, though there really should have been one. Wayne's world is a warped mirror, a kind of post-hip-hop, where everything that the genre has evolved into over decades is pushed to absurd extremes and blown up to ridiculous proportions. Wayne raps off beat, changes his flow multiple times within a single track, switches accents, and bursts into shameless auto-tuned singing. His rap doesn't carry a message. Lil Wayne doesn't want to tell stories. What he spits is an endless stream of punchlines, associative bars, an unceasing flow of a substance-altered consciousness. His thirst for fame and money merges in his mind with a surreal perception of everything shown on TV. Wayne compares himself to Spielberg's E.T., Beetlejuice, Gremlins, the EA Games sports franchise, and Peter Pan. He pulls fragments of TV shows and sports broadcasts from the depths of his subconscious. For Wayne, the fundamental hip-hop concepts of true or not true don't exist. He goes where the money calls. He's a rapper who wants to be more than rap, which is why he does whatever he feels like, dabbling in shameless auto-tuned R&B or even auto-tuned nu metal. In a genre where the primary motivation has almost always been money, he was the first to record and give away music for free in mind-blowing quantities. In 2007, Wayne didn't release a single official album, but his free mixtapes contained about 80 original tracks, not counting over 60 features on other artists' records. Wayne claims he barely sleeps because he's always recording. His writing and recording process is vividly shown in the documentary Thaw Carter. No written lyrics, no notebooks, just substances, a few spontaneous takes at the mic, and an eruption of built-up rhymes. If I write my lyrics in a notebook, anyone can read them, but if I keep them in my head, only I can understand them, he says in an interview for the film. The result? A manifesto of the unconscious, crafted by a sharp-witted, pop culture-obsessed intellectual. Tyler, the Creator, once called himself a walking paradox, but if anyone truly embodies that title, it's Lil Wayne. His lyrics are a snapshot of societal madness, a collection of Freudian slips, cognitive dissonances, and contradictions, all centered on satisfying primal desires. All of this operates purely on instinct. You don't need to perfectly understand English, know Southern slang, or be aware of Lil Wayne's relationship with Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb or Toucan Sam from Fruit Loops. Everything Wayne raps about is felt on a gut level. His meaning lies in his delivery, in the way he rasps, wheezes, and spits his words, unfiltered, directly from his mind. Lil Wayne's success isn't just because he's a madman with no filter, or because he has an inimitable flow, rockstar persona, and style. His success comes from the fact that Wayne is the last true, young, energetic bluesman of America. He is the only one capable of giving America's roots music such a raw and unfiltered interpretation. Anyone raised on Western culture, on blues, and therefore rock and roll, instinctively reacts to his music.
I see the love in disguise. I see the pain hidden in your pride.
That's all for today. What do you think about Lil Wayne? Write your opinions in the comments, like, and subscribe to the channel. See you all later.